In a quaint little village, nestled between rolling green hills and a whispering forest, lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan was known for his kind heart and quick mind, but he carried a heavy burden. A relentless storm of negative thoughts raged within him, clouding his days and haunting his nights. Doubts about his abilities, fears of the future, and echoes of past mistakes swirled in his mind like a relentless tempest. He felt trapped, a prisoner in his own head. One sunny afternoon, feeling particularly overwhelmed, Ethan decided to take a walk into the woods, hoping the tranquility of nature might offer some solace. He wandered deeper the familiar path, giving way to an overgrown trail he'd never seen before. The air grew still, and a sense of ancient peace settled around him. Soon he stumbled upon a small, secluded clearing. In the center of the clearing sat a woman, her hair as white as snow and her eyes holding the depth of a calm, clear lake. She was tending to a small, vibrant garden filled with the most extraordinary flowers he had ever seen. "You seem troubled, young man," she said, her voice as gentle as the rustling leaves. Startled, Ethan stammered, I am. My mind is a battlefield, and I'm losing the war." The woman smiled softly and gestured to a spot beside her. "My name is Ilara. Sit with me. Tell me about this war." Ethan poured out his heart, describing the endless cycle of negativity, the anxiety, the feeling of being powerless against his own thoughts. Ilara listened patiently, her gaze never wavering. When he finished, she pointed to her garden. "Look closely, Ethan. This garden is much like your mind." Ethan looked. He saw beautiful, radiant blossoms, but he also noticed thorny weeds sprouting between them, their dark leaves threatening to choke the life from the flowers. Ilara continued, "The beautiful flowers are your positive, life-affirming thoughts. The weeds are your negative, destructive ones. For a long time, I, too, let the weeds run wild in my own garden. They grew so thick that I could no longer see the flowers. I believed the weeds were all there was." She handed him a small, sturdy trowel. "Your mind is a garden, and you are the gardener. You cannot stop the seeds of weeds from blowing in on the wind. They will always appear, but you do not have to let them take root. You have the power to choose what you nurture." Ethan looked at the trowel, then back at Ilara, confused. But how? These thoughts feel so real, so powerful. They just appear and I'm swept away. "The first step," Ilara explained, "is to simply notice. When a negative thought, a weed, sprouts, don't fight it. Don't try to rip it out in anger. That only spreads its seeds. Instead, simply acknowledge it. Say to yourself, ah, there is a weed, a thought of doubt. Do not judge it. Do not identify with it. Just observe it, as you would observe a cloud passing in the sky. She guided him to a particularly nasty-looking weed. See this one. This is a "you're not good enough" weed. Instead of letting it grow, we acknowledge it, and then we gently, deliberately uproot it. With a practiced movement, she loosened the soil around the weed and pulled it out, root and all. "Now," she said, handing him a packet of seeds, "the most important part. You must plant a flower in its place. Where the weed of doubt stood, plant a seed of confidence. Where fear grew, plant courage. Where regret lingered, plant a seed of self-forgiveness." Ethan took the seeds. They felt warm in his hand. He found a small weed, a flicker of anxiety about his future. He took a deep breath, pictured the thought, and acknowledged it without judgment. Then, carefully, he used the trowel to remove it. It felt surprisingly easy. In the small patch of empty soil, he planted a seed Elara gave him, a seed she called trust in the journey. "A gardener's work is never done," Elara said. "Other days, only a few. The key is consistency. Observe, uproot, and replant." He learned to identify the different types of weeds, the thorny vines of anger, the creeping moss of sadness, the deep-rooted stumps of old grudges. For each weed he removed, he planted a flower in its place: gratitude, joy, peace, kindness. As the sun began to set, casting long, golden shadows through the trees, Ethan's mind felt quieter than it had in years. The raging storm had subsided, replaced by a gentle breeze. He hadn't eliminated all negative thoughts, but he no longer felt powerless. He had a tool. He had a method. He was the gardener. He turned to Elara, his eyes filled with immense gratitude. "How can I ever thank you?" She smiled warmly. "By tending to your own garden, and perhaps, one day, showing someone else how to tend to theirs." Ethan returned to the village, but he was a changed man. Every morning, he would sit in quiet meditation. He would watch his thoughts, observing the weeds as they appeared. He would greet them without fear. "Hello, worry, I see you." Then he would gently uproot them and plant flowers in their place. When a thought of "I can't do this" arose, he would replace it with "I will try my best." When a memory of failure surfaced, he would plant a seed of "that was a lesson, not a life sentence." Slowly but surely, his inner landscape began to transform. The weeds of negativity still appeared, but they were fewer and weaker. His garden began to flourish, bursting with the vibrant colors of positivity, confidence, and peace. People in the village noticed the change. The perpetual shadow over Ethan's face was gone, replaced by a calm and gentle light. He was more present, more engaged, and his kindness now flowed from a place of genuine inner peace. One day, A young girl from the village, her eyes wide with worry, approached him. "Ethan," she whispered, "my head is full of scary thoughts. I don't know what to do." Ethan knelt down, looked into her eyes with the same compassion Ilara had shown him, and smiled. "Your mind is like a beautiful garden," he began. "Sometimes weeds grow, but I can show you how to be the gardener." And so, the wisdom of the garden spread. Ethan realized that controlling your thoughts wasn't about building a wall to keep the bad out. It was about actively cultivating the good. It was a daily practice, a gentle but persistent effort. It was the art of being a mindful gardener, turning the soil of the mind into a place where beautiful things could grow. He understood that true freedom wasn't the absence of storms, but the knowledge that you could navigate them, that you could always choose to plant another flower. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are the gardener of your own mind. Tend to it with care, patience, and love. If you found this story helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content to help you cultivate your inner peace. See you next time.